Hey everybody, welcome back for another math video. And today we're going to be jumping into a new segment, a new section, maybe a new playlist if you see it on YouTube. We're talking about statistics, we're talking about data, we're talking graphs, all that kind of stuff. Now I do still have a couple more videos coming up on geometry that we haven't talked about yet. But like I said in my last video, I've got a couple props that are coming along that are going to help illustrate some of that stuff with geometry with some 3D shapes. So we are going to talk a little bit about bar graphs in this video and another type of graph in the next video. But what is a bar graph? Well, what is a graph? First thing we need to figure out is, what is a graph? Well, it's a way to show information. It's a way to display information that can use a picture. Okay? And a bar graph that we're going to talk about, just like this one right here, shows that information in a picture form by using bars. And those bars represent some kind of data, some numbers, whatever information that you collected. Okay? And we're also going to see a table. Okay? A table is another form of organizing your data, then a lot of times later on is put into a graph. Okay? So you see both of those things right here. We have our table right here. We have a graph right here. Now, a table is a great way to organize your information. Okay? As you collect information, you put it into a table like this to kind of gather your thoughts. And it's a good way to write down all of your information, all of the labels that you're using. Maybe it's the question that you're asking. Be able to understand what you're going to put into a graph, to really understand what you are trying to gather from asking that question, or what kind of information you're trying to gather. In this case, we're trying to figure out the favorite kind of fruit juice in a classroom, or wherever it happens to be. We're just going to assume it's in a classroom at this point. Okay. But in this table, that's what they're asking, your favorite fruit juice. And they were given 4 different choices of juice. Okay, so that's one category. They had to choose from either apple, grape, orange, or pineapple juice. And then in this column right here, we have the number of students in the classroom that chose that certain kind of juice. So the number of students that chose apple was 8. The number that chose grape was 4. 10 chose orange. And 2 chose pineapple. So that's a table or a chart. Okay, that's going to help show that information in word form. But we're humans. Okay? Now, for some people, this makes perfect sense. This is a good way. You can look at the numbers. You can compare right off the bat. For some people, that is perfect. But as human beings, people, most of the time, even the people that like this kind of stuff, we want to see a graph. Pictures help our brains understand information. They help it process information a lot better. So yeah, you could just leave it as this, but I really think, in my mind, I want to see this. I would much rather look at a picture on a graph than to look at a chart full of numbers. And even if you like organizing your thoughts like this, deep down inside, your brain does enjoy graphs. It likes looking at pictures because that helps you visualize, it helps you see that information a lot better. So that's exactly what they did here. Okay? They took our favorite fruit juice and they put it on top of our graph, on top of our picture up here. Okay? That way we know exactly what this graph is talking about. That's very important that you put that on your chart, on your table, and on your graph. Because if we don't know what you're talking about, the graph does not have any meaning. So make sure that the first thing you do, one of the first things you do anyway, is put a title on your graph. That way we know exactly what we're talking about. Okay? So this graph tells me, okay, it's going to tell us about the favorite fruit juice. Then, you notice down here at the bottom, we have the 4 different kinds of juice, which is good. Okay, it tells us the 4 that we were asked about, the 4 choices that we were given. And then up the side here, it says number of students. So what does all that mean? Okay, so we have juice flavor, we have number of students, and I move the paper. And we go up by 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Even increments, even gaps. Okay, we go up by 2 with each one of these lines, which is nice. Okay, it makes it nice and even. Makes it nice and straight for us. I like that. Okay. But what do these bars mean? Okay, we got 4 different bars. there's a bar above apple. And that bar, you notice, goes all the way up to this number 8. You notice over here in the table, the number of students that liked apple juice was 8. Well, that's exactly why that bar goes up to 8, because that bar is telling me in a picture form how many students liked apple juice. Okay, we just need to follow, okay, when you want to look at apple, we're going to follow that bar up until it stops. Where does that bar stop? Stops at 8, the number of students that liked apple juice. We can do the same thing for grape. We look at our grape juice, that bar goes up to the number 4 here. That tells me, hey, number of students, 4 students liked grape juice. The table tells us the exact same thing. Orange, we follow that bar up to 10. Well, it says 10 students liked orange juice. Table said the same thing. And pineapple also agrees with our table. It says 2. So this graph tells us the same information that this table does over here, but it's a lot prettier to look at. And like I said, our brains like to look at pretty things. We like to look at pictures. We like to look at things that help us see that information a lot better. Yes, we can see this, but that's a lot of reading. That's a lot of words. Same words over here, but it's in picture form. For some reason, hardwired into our brains, this is going to help us understand that information a lot better. Okay. So what we're going to do down below is we're going to use these 2 things, this table and this graph, to help us answer these 6 questions. So number 1, how many students like grape juice? Well, we can look in either the table or the graph. Either way, we can see, okay, grape goes up to 4. It also says grape has 4. So we're going to say 4 students on our line right there. 4 students like grape juice. We move over to question number 2. Which juice flavor is the student's least favorite? Well, least favorite means the smallest. So which one of these 4 has the smallest number in this table or the smallest bar on this graph? Well, it looks to me like pineapple's only got 2. Table says the same thing. So we can say pineapple juice is the least favorite. Okay, so pineapple juice is the least favorite of the bunch. All right, on number 3. How many more students like orange juice than pineapple juice? Okay, so more and than. We see those 2 words, more and than. Okay, so we're going to be comparing. Tells me when I see those 2 words, just like we talked about a while back in a previous video, that's going to be a subtraction problem. So how many more like orange juice than pineapple juice? Well, we need to take our orange minus our pineapple. So 10 minus 2, and we can even put that off to the side over here. Okay? But we can do in our heads, 10 minus 2 is 8 more students. Okay. And then number 4. Which 2 juice flavors do the students do? Blah, 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 blah. Which 2 juice flavors, I can speak, I promise, do the students like the best? Well, in that case, not the least favorite like we saw with pineapple, the smallest bar. We want to see the top 2 bars, the 2 biggest bars in this graph right up here. And the 2 tallest bars are orange and apple. And the table backs that up. The 2 biggest numbers are next to orange, 10, and apple, 8. So, orange and apple are the 2 favorites. And we'll write that in. Now I'm going to have to move this down. We'll have to go back up to the graph. Maybe not. Maybe we can still sneak it in. All right. Number 5. Which juice flavor did the students like the most, and how can you tell? Well, looking at the graph and the chart, or the table, mainly the graph though, we see that orange is the tallest bar, and that's how we can tell. Okay, they liked orange the most because it has the tallest bar. And this is going to be a tight space to write this in. So I'm going to have to write underneath. And again, I apologize for my handwriting. And number 6, how many students were in the survey? Great question. How do we figure out how many students are in the survey? Well, what I'm going to do over here is I'm going to write the same numbers we have over here in the chart. Apple, we had 8. Grape, we had 4. Orange had 10. And pineapple had 2. All we have to do to figure out how many students total were in that survey, which is just asking a question and getting answers, I just have to add those numbers together. So if I have 8 plus 4, that's 12. 10 plus 2 is 12. 12 plus 12, that's a double, is 24. And I'm not going to write it on the line here. But we figured that out by adding together all of the information. We added together the number of students in the table, or you could say we added together the number of students in the graph. Simple enough, right? It's not too bad. Okay, just understanding that we have a table here that tells us information, we use that information and put it into a picture form so our brains can kind of understand it better. Now, we're going to do the same thing on this page. Yeah, we've got a brand new table, and we have a brand new graph. Except this graph is only partially done, so we're going to have to fill out the rest of this graph on our own. So, this table says average animal lifespan, the amount of time that an animal is alive on average. Okay? And they figured out this information. They've got black bear, domestic cat, which is your house cat, a chipmunk, domestic dog, or just your dog, not a wild wolf, not a hyena, nothing like that, just a house dog, and a cow. And over in the graph, so far, they put down the bear. Okay, so we have a bar for the bear. Now, the average lifespan in years for the black bear was 18. So they took that bear and they put a bar over the bear that went up to 18. So we need to do that for the other 4 animals. The cat. Okay, now they did shorten up the labels down here on the graph. We have the type of animal on the bottom. We have the number of years up the side, and again, they go 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, nice even increments. Okay, I like that. So they did shorten up the labels, but same labels. So cat. Above cat, we need to go up to 12. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find my 12. I'm just going to draw a straight line down. You could easily draw a straight line up. This is far from a straight line, but you get my point. Okay. And then we're just going to color in that bar. Very important to color in that bar. And that goes up to 12. Chipmunk. Same thing, we find 6 now. Now we're going to attempt to draw a straight line down from 6 or up to 6. And there's our chipmunk bar. Dog, also 12 years, same as the cat. So again, we're going to find our 12. We're going to draw the straightest line that we possibly can down to dog. I'm getting better with time here. Drawing is not one of my strong suits. I am no artist. But there's our dog bar. And then our last one is cow. Now, cow is a little bit different. How is cow different? You notice we have 18. 18's on the side. 12 and 12. 12 is on the side. 6 is on the side. Do you see a 15 going up and down here on the side of that graph? There is no 15, so we have to figure out where 15 would be on that graph. So, we know 15 is more than 14, but it's less than 16. So what we have to do is we have to make a line that is halfway, right between the 16 and the 14 here. That is where our 15 would be. If we were going to draw every single number out, that is where we would put our 15. And it's just going to go halfway between the 14 and the 16. And then we can color that bar in, and then we can use that as our information. Okay. Now we can answer our questions because we have our graph made and we have our table put together over here. So, number 1. Why does the graph show every second number instead of all the numbers from 0 through 20 in the scale? And that's a great question. Okay, looking at that graph, we've got 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, all the way up to 20, which we counted earlier. Why would they not put every single number? Why would they not put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8? And the best reason for that, again, our brains like to think pretty. We like to look at things that are nicely laid out. They look even. They look nice and straight. They look pretty. If you put every single number in here, if you had 21 different numbers, okay, 1 through 20 plus 0, that's 21 numbers. That's not going to be very pretty. That's going to be really, really cramped trying to get 21 different numbers, 0 through 20, up the side of that graph. Same with the graph on the other side. Okay, it's much shorter, but if you look at that, they went by 2s. Starting at 0, going up to 12. You could put 0 through 12, every single number on there, but it's going to be really cramped, and it's not going to look very pretty. If you have a little bit of space between each number, that's going to make your life a lot easier. It's going to make your brain not have to work quite as much to figure out what's going on. So it shows every second number because, and I'm just going to do a short version here, because it allows for more space between the numbers. And our brains like it that way. Okay. Number 2, which animal has the longest average lifespan? Well, just like our last graph, where we figured out who liked, or which juice had the most likes, we're going to look for the tallest bar. The tallest bar here happens to be the bear. Happens to be the bear. So we can put bear, or black bear if you want to be very specific. It does say black bear in the table up there. Number 3, which animals have the same average lifespan? Well, which 2 animals have the same number in the table or the same height in bars on the graph? The cat and dog. So we put cat and dog. Number 4, how many more years is a cow more likely to live than a cat? So again, we have more than. Okay, those 2 words tell me we're going to do some subtraction here. We're going to figure out the gap in between those 2 animals. So cow, then a cat. Well, a cat only lives 12 years. A cow lives 15 years. So we have to take 15 minus 12. Or we can count up from 12 to get to 15. So 12, 13, 14, 15. 3 years. And then number 5, which animal has the shortest lifespan? Well, just like the least liked juice on the last chart, we're going to look for the shortest bar in that graph. Shortest bar is the chipmunk, which only on average lives for 6 years. So we'll put chipmunk down here in our final line. All right. So that is where we're going to leave off with this one. Okay, a bar graph. We're going to go back to the beginning here, just do a quick review. So a graph is a way that is going to help us show our information in a prettier way. And there are many types of graphs. This is just one type of graph that you can use. But it's going to help you display your information in a little bit more pretty way than just putting it into a table like you see here. And the bar graph specifically is going to show you that information using bars on the graph. That's why it's called a bar graph. And then a table right here is what you're going to use to kind of organize your thoughts, organize your information before you put it into a graph like this. Hopefully that makes sense. If you enjoyed this, and if this helped you at all, if you understand the bar graph a little bit more, what a graph is, after watching this, I very, very much would appreciate if you would leave a comment saying, yeah, this helped, or drop a like on it to let me know. And if you want to be notified of upcoming videos, or you just want to be a part of this channel that continues to grow by the day, feel free, hit that subscribe button and ring that bell, because when you ring that bell, you're going to be notified whenever I upload a new video. And I am getting a lot of videos uploaded here to try to help kids, their parents, even some teachers out there that are maybe looking for a different way to explain things when it comes to math and other subjects. Because school can be tough sometimes. And especially for parents that aren't in school with your kiddos, it can be tricky to really understand what's going on. So to get a new perspective, to get a different way of thinking about things, to kind of understand what's going on. That's a big reason why I'm doing these videos, to help you, the kids, and your parents as well during this time. So, thank you for watching. Stay tuned for the next video when we are talking about line plots, another type of graph. And I hope you have a great rest of your day, afternoon, morning, night, whenever you have to be watching it. Maybe it's midnight, I don't know. Have a great whenever the rest of you are watching, and until next time, take care.